I have the privilege of coaching elite athletes, and one of the things that I'm curious about is, do the cells store memories? And the reason I ask that is that when we're a child, for example, and we learn to walk, that there's obviously a process that I'm not consciously thinking about getting up and walking again. Well, with the athletes that I coach, they certainly learn a physical movement. Is that literally, where's that stored? Is that stored in the cells? Is it stored somewhere in the ethers that people...
Such a good question. The cells of your body are consciousness too.
Of course.
So law of attraction is responding to their vibration, just law of attraction is responding to the vibration of the thoughts that you're thinking with your mind. Stay with us, you're really going to like this. So we want to reintroduce the word momentum to this conversation, because there is cellular momentum. Mm-hmm. And we think that's a better description than cellular memory, even though you could effectively say it's the same thing. It's a momentum. It's a habit of response. Yes. The most important thing that we want to say about your cellular momentum is that with your conscious mind, you have such control over this cellular momentum, but most people don't exercise it. Most people are responding to the way their body feels rather than telling their body the way they want it to feel. Right. So once you get out ahead of this, and you see this, you've seen this with athletes, you know that it is mind over matter. You see them doing things that physical beings haven't ought to be able to do that easily, and yet they can't always do it every single time because their mindset is not adjusted in just that way. But it could be, you see.
Which is what we work on.
So if we were visiting with them, we would say to them, your body is responding somewhat out of habit, out of cellular memory, but you can dictate to those cells the memory that you want them to hold.
I like that.
Yeah. And once they get that squared away and they begin to watching the response of their body to their thoughts, in other words, when anyone, not just an athlete, but when anyone gets into perfect vibrational concert with their source energy, that's when the thought extends from that pure, positive, powerful place right through into the cellular body. And
could override anything.
It does override everything.
In a moment of really strong negative, almost like I have athletes, it's almost like no different than them putting their finger in a socket. It is that immediate and powerful, and then it subsides.
Well, that's because something in their moment has caused them to focus in a way that the focus of alignment was so dominant that the more that happens, the more there is the expectation of that happening.
That's correct.
Every moment of time for every person could be one of full open circuits and energy that creates worlds flowing through you to the experience that you want to have. Every moment in time could be that way. But it takes some life experience and some expectation and some allowing of that before anyone is doing it all the time. There is nothing more exciting than to discover your cellular relationship with your mind. But we're not just talking about the brain that is projecting thoughts in your physical world. We're talking about the mind that is the source that stands in your vortex, where everything that you've asked for has been gathered. When you sync up with that perspective, with that current, with that focus, and you stand in a moment of complete allowance of that mind to be the one that's flowing. In other words, this is what we're talking about all day, every day. We don't want you to see yourselves as puppets that source energy is guiding, but we do want you to understand that you have access to understanding and knowledge and benefit and current and decisions and energy and resources that few of you are beginning to use, and even these fantastic athletes use sporadically. And you could be doing it all the time once you get the hang of this. And once you care more than life itself, because it is life itself, how you feel in this moment and this moment and this moment. So being on this high-flying disc feels like clarity. It feels like fun. It feels like eagerness. It feels like passion. It feels like flexibility. It feels like power. It feels like certainty. It feels like sureness. It feels like knowing. It feels like love. And when you're involved in some sporting endeavor, you're probably not thinking about love, but you sure want to think about clarity. You may not be thinking about appreciation, but you're sure thinking about deftness and agility. And we want you to understand that the properties of all of those emotions are the same vibrational frequency. It's a high, high, high frequency, you see. So you could literally go all day from feeling love to feeling appreciation to feeling interest to feeling eager to feeling passion. You don't need to go from love to despair or from love to fear or from love to hate. And if you're hanging around in hate, or if you're hanging around in self-loathing, or if you're hanging around in being upset with somebody else, then you're not hanging around up there, and you do not have an open vortex. You don't have an open valve. And so that's why you're exhibiting behavior and physical conditions and on that are indicative of the disc that you're hanging around on, you see. So you take someone like these athletes who occasionally are up there and are often not. And the question is, could they be up there all the time? And the answer is yes. But they've got to understand vibration and frequency. So if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would watch for those moments in time when there's no question in your mind that they're full on allowing. And we'd say, see what you just did there? You were completely out of the way, and you were allowing only what you wanted to flow through you. And we would emphasize that and not emphasize the other.
Right.
Because whatever you're emphasizing, you're practicing with them. Yeah. Good. Really good.